Bobby, you lead us in prayer, please.
Yes, sir.
Will you bow your heads with me? Dear Lord, as we come before you, we're thankful for this day and your many blessings, and thankful that you are the God that hears our prayers. We ask you just now, dear Lord, that you bless all our soldiers that are on foreign soil today, that you'll bring them safely back home. We ask you, Lord, to bless this meeting, that we might look to you for guidance, that we might serve the people in Pike County. Dear Lord, we'll never fail to bow and give you the honor and glory and praise for everything that you do. We ask us all in the name of Jesus Christ and for your sake. And amen.
Amen. Meeting come to order. Roll call, please.
Judge Deskins.
Here.
Magistrate Anderson. Here. Magistrate Compton.
Here.
Magistrate Murphy.
Here.
Magistrate Robinson. Here. Magistrate Dodson.
Here.
Magistrate Varney.
Here.
Leo, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and for approval and discussion of the 2018-2019 proposed budget as prepared by the Pike County Judge Executive.
Is Jonda here?
She's on the way, I think. Is she on the way? Well, should we go into executive session and then do it when we come back?
Well, that's about all we got.
What is next, Judge? I didn't get to see her. I didn't get to see her.
There she is.
Here you go.
There's my young'un. All right. Discussion of the 2018-19 proposed budget as prepared by the Pike County Judge Executive.
We can just go down the line, I guess, and ask each master if they've got any questions or anything. Start with you, Mr. Anderson. Want to start? Oh, okay.
Here's the, where's the budget?
I don't have a copy here.
I left him with
Hey, Jonda, do we have to go into executive session to discuss this?
You may go in there, John.
Okay. All right.
For specific personnel, we have to.
Yep, okay.
Jeannie, have you got copies of the budget? They didn't, some of them didn't bring theirs.
You got one?
I've got
Didn't bring it. Didn't bring it.
None of these have theirs.
Should be one right here, maybe.
Go ahead and bring these.
yeah, it probably is. There he is.
no. Well, they got off a little bit on the numbering's all, but no, I don't think there's. Look at that.
Yeah. So I left them with you.
Diddy.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll make some changes if you do what occupational tax.
It's supposed to be.
Oh yeah. All right. Anybody got any questions about anything on it?
Only question I got is budget from last year.
Correct.
Try to make it the same, right? Everything balanced out.
That's whatever you all want to do, since we hadn't made decisions on things. We just submitted last year's budget so that if you all have changes to be made to it, that we could make them after we submitted it.
Jonda, I'll start off, I guess, with the question. If we do away with the occupational tax, what changes are we going to have to make here to offset that?
How much did we clear, or what did we bring in on the occupational tax?
Pam can tell us.
A little over 3 million, and then 400 on the net profits.
So if we do away with that occupational tax, we're going to have to come up with $3.5 million to cut out this budget.
Correct.
Well, I want to hear somebody tell me how we're going to do that.
And if you're wanting to reduce the property tax rate,
Yeah.
you know, that's money that'll have to be found too, or cuts.
Not and do away with that. We can.
I mean, I think, you mean now, you mean retroactive, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's what she's talking about.
He's looking for some things there, John. I've got a question on page 9. Real property taxes for 2017. Is that a good number? Was we under that or above that on the collection? It's $2,150,000.
Page 1, wasn't it?
Page one of 9. I'm sorry.
We're above those two amounts.
Pardon?
We're a little bit above both those amounts.
Okay, but that'll be a good number to look what we're projecting for next year, right? Okay. Now, if we was to try to cut property tax, we cut it 1%, that'd be $215,000, right? Okay. Okay, another thing, guys, I think it would be plumb slacking on our part as a fiscal court if we do not appropriate and approve money to put a roof on this courthouse. Because we know that we need it. We tried it. We tried to get some grants. We tried to do this, but we need a roof.
What was the cost of that? Paul?
180.
$190-some thousand, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's that, or might have been went over 2 a little bit. The first couple estimates we had was under 2, but I believe
And
something happened
they're
there.
old now. They're 8 or 9 months ago.
We're going to pull that tile off. Look, it's looking like, you know,
Yeah.
what it's looking at.
So
Paul, that was a recent bid, probably about, what, 3 or 4 months ago.
6 months ago.
What we have is 225. We have one came in like 180 something.
186. Yeah.
How long has that been?
That hasn't been 3 or 4 months ago.
When we applied for the coal service money. So it should pretty much still be the
Yeah,
same.
what it's doing, the sun's hitting it, and it just keeps splitting up there. You know, you go up and patch it, and the sun hits it, and it keeps splitting.
Might as well say 200,000 because if it went up a little bit, and it could have.
And I think we need to make sure we get somebody who does an excellent job on it too, not just somebody to go up there and do a half job. We need it done right and look right for this courthouse.
Who were the bidders on that project?
I can't,
Commonwealth Construction was one. There was one that was 225.
I think they were the high one.
Who was the low one?
there's one downstate there. Yeah, that's it.
Dixie Roofing was one that I was very excited to come look at it. I think that's the one that's like they're getting, did Dixie Roofing put the one on all good? They did the white roof on the new section of the Hall of Justice building.
Dixie, where are they from? Tennessee? I'd like to get old Kentucky boys to do it if we could.
Yeah, I would too, if all
There's
possible.
there's only 2 contractors that do this, rubber roofing like this, that manufacture. There's only 2 warranty companies, that's Carlisle, and then there's another one. They're the only ones that'll warranty a roof like this.
Were both the two we mentioned approved by them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go with either one, they'll give you a warranty, but their inspectors come out before they warranty that roof and actually go through it, before they give their stamp of approval on that roof, so. If they do the work, then it's okay, because they'll give like a 20-year warranty, and then if something happens, they've got to come back and fix it on their dime.
Because if you go up to the 4th floor, there's so many tiles that need to be replaced, and it doesn't pay to replace them because as soon as we have a big downpour, they're back spotted and circled.
John, I guess we probably can't apply for any more assistance from the co-severance.
No, that was
Is that
denied.
over with?
That
Is
was
it-
denied.
Is it?
That particular woman.
It's not an economic development project.
Well,
I mean, that's what,
I just wondered if we could apply again. I don't know if the deadline is over with, or.
They denied us the first time. I don't think they're going to redo it again.
I think we only had to have one change his mind, wasn't it?
Good point.
Yeah.
Get it done.
Give it a try.
Been asking about it?
Has the courthouse ever been designated as a historic landmark or a protected building by the state?
I believe so.
This one has.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Then
There's a plaque out there by the 2nd floor elevator at their Genie.
is there any restoration projects through the state government that might come in and help us with that?
I don't know. That's the new part, basically, over there. So I don't know if it would have to be on this old side or the new side, or if it would even matter. Yeah, this is the old side.
Either way, you're going to get some. If they've got a program, there might be some money for it.
We can look into that.
Just a thought.
Yeah, but
That's a good
I'm
thought.
telling you, we're in the rainy season. We can't look too much. We'll be looking at the sky.
I think the most costly thing about this roof is the tiles, isn't it? Because they come from Italy, is it that what?
Well, no, just
Commonwealth?
the manual labor of taking all the tiles off, and then they'll have to replace that rubber underlay under it, and then have to put all the tiles back on again.
And getting them if they break any. Yeah, this roof's 25 years old. It's going on 26. Because I'm sure the roof was on it before we even moved into it, so it's right at 26 years old. Because we moved in October so that Judge Harris could be in the office before the election that Judge Rutherford won for the 14-month unexpired term of Governor Patton. And I was pregnant with my first child, so that's how I equate all that.
I just know we're going to have to do it.
Well, Pam and them's office had never been flooded like they got flooded, and we lost a calculator, maybe a computer, because they just pop up. We don't know where they're going to come to the next time, because it's just wherever the rain gets in and it follows something, it could be over here and it lands over here. It's hard to find places to patch with rain and water.
I don't know.
So I guess the biggest thing we need to decide, are we going to try to repeal the occupational tax? What's the consensus of the court?
John, I'd like to see it happen. You know, I know it's going to be hard, but it would take a burden off of the people, and we had to put it on when we did. We had no other choice. But I think now we're doing better, and I think we need to look at appealing it and then see where it goes from there.
I mean, we're doing better, but what we had left over, or what we potentially could have left over this year won't be enough to cover the whole 4 quarters of the 3.5. I possibly could cover 2 quarters. Have it to be repealed as of October 1.
What would we look at in terms of, are we looking at laying off people, or?
No, I think with the money we would generate in 2 quarters, plus the money that we would have left over for this year, would make a budget.
So what you're saying, we could balance the budget out, and October 1, we could talk about doing away with the occupational tax. Is that right?
Does that take you through June 30th, 2019?
Correct. Because we have about $1.7 million or $2 million left over, then you've only got to bring in half of the money of $1.5 million.
That sounds all right,
Because
y'all.
if do we want to look at trying to give employees raises? Do we want to?
We can't give raises and do all that.
No, I know that.
We can't put a roof on this building and do all that. If we got to take the money, now if we can get a grant or something, that's one thing.
We can look into getting a grant through the Historical Society here in the next few days.
I think there's money out there if we can connect up with it, because these meetings we go to in Frankfurt and Louisville, they all the time talking about historical buildings, money's out there, but it would take somebody else, like Sandy, I guess, to work on a grant and try to see if there's something out there for us.
I'll call her right.
Okay.
I didn't want to put the tax on, but we did put the tax on. And yes, I'd like to repeal it, but I do not want to leave this county in real bad shape by just repealing that tax. And that's what I'm afraid of. I think our employees deserve a raise. I'd like to see them get a raise. I'd like to see the property owners in Pike County get maybe a 1% off their property taxes next time.
We'll see if the assessments are up, that's going to drive the property tax rate down. Last year was a fluke, and hopefully we don't have that fluke again this year coming up, to where they have, wiped out so much value off of our taxes. And if the revenue from the property is up, then it's going to drive the rate down. I don't know that it'll drive it back down to where it was, but it'll drive it down. And we had been increasing our property rate in the last years, because it had not fluctuated much. It stayed in the 12 and 13% range until this state option that they did and took care of all the unmined minerals and stuff.
$100 million.
In one fell swoop on everybody.
On page 1 there, John, on those first 13 accounts, page 1. Those 13 accounts listed, $7,227,984.
Correct.
Is that pretty solid, all those numbers down through there? Motor vehicle property tax, delinquent tax, all that?
The unmined mineral needs to go down, because that was a high estimate. I think we only got 140,000.
And it'll be that or less this year, won't it?
Correct. Yeah, all the rest of them are pretty well solid. Which, the tourism gets that money, we don't get that one, so it's just a pass-through.
What's that?
The tourism tax, that's not money that we get, so really it's just about
At $255,000?
$6 million and something there. Because that's passed directly to the Tourism Society. Up here at the Hampton, it's number 12, transit room tax, Pike County Tourism, $255,000 there on page 1.
Yeah.
No, page 1 of the revenues. 1 of 9. Yeah. 1 of 9, right there's the tourism, 255. Yeah, right there. That passes through to tourism. We're just a collecting agency.
Okay, I talked to the Big Sandy ad, and she said there was very little, if any, monies. There hasn't been really any money that they've had to spend in a long time. They said they might have gotten $5,000 for the York House to help with that. The city of Pikeville did, but they just don't have that kind of money. They don't have $200,000. It'd be a stretch. You could get a few thousand, maybe. And you know what? They have budget issues too down there, so I don't even know what's in the account at the moment. But that doesn't look like it's real likely.
Personally, myself, I think if you take the occupational tax, that means no raise for the employees. That means no equipment for solid waste. There will be layoffs. That's what the results of it will be. And there'll be no money to expand the landfill when it comes time to expand. And so I think y'all ought to consider that before you make that decision.
Bob, we did when we put it on. The people cut our head off. They hate us. They hate us out in the county because of occupational tax.
Well, if you...
And you know, we had to do it. And I understand what you're saying, but if we can find another way, I know the landfill is supposed to fund itself. When Paul Patton designed the landfill, he said we're putting in a program that will take care of itself. As far as I know, it's never done that, and it probably never will.
The solid waste in the landfill took care of itself during the administration of Judge Dameron. After that, it has never gone without being subsidized since.
What was it last year that we had to subsidize?
200 and some thousand maybe, and I think that's what I've got in there for this year.
And that's probably the least that we've ever done, isn't it?
And we went out and bought a bunch of trucks that ain't nothing but trouble, from what I can find out from the garage over there. They're constantly in the shop. Their transmissions is no good. And the trucks has been nothing but trouble. And the maintenance garage says that we are going to have to look at changing them out some way. And you know, these trucks are probably still under warranty. And it's the fault of the court for going and buying this stuff.
But I'm just afraid if you take that, then it's going to end up, I mean, solid waste has got to operate. Then it'll say, well, let's raise the garbage bill again. You know, you take one away, you have to raise the other one up.
What's the life right now, Bobby, of the landfill? How many years do we have left?
The landfill on the phase it's on is projected 7 more years, and then phase 6 put 9 more on top of that. So
we just got an
estimated cost of $5 million to expand to phase 6.
See, we just got the permit.
Yes.
To be issued last week for
the 5-year plan.
Are those problems we're having with the trucks now? Is the warranty taking care of that, or is that something we're having to?
The trucks, yes, as of right now, they're pretty much covering it, but they're in the garage all the time, in the shop.
What's the problem? Everything?
You have trouble from computers to transmissions and
Harvey, can we go with the lemon law on these vehicles? They still have that out there?
Well, you got the lemon law, but
it's hard to prove it.
I think you got those leased, those trucks are leased, aren't they, through CAECO or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Can you do anything with them while they're leased?
I don't know.
Can we break that lease?
Well, it's the lease I'm paying for them what it is. I mean, we borrowed the money from CAECO to pay for them. We didn't lease the trucks. We got a lease payment, ain't we, John?
Right. But
so CAECO's going to want their money regardless.
You know, everybody talks about us raising things, but back when Judge Dameron had it running in the black, the cost of the fuel and the lubricants and wear and tear, everything has increased exponentially in those 25 years. And unfortunately, government has to run on taxes. That is our sole base of revenue. We don't have many options. That's why we went with the occupational net profits tax. The only other option we have is to do a insurance premium tax, but we get in the same situation there. Coal Run and Pikeville, if they choose to implement an insurance premium tax, then that takes revenue away from us.
And
I guess whenever...
If we do that, they would.
Correct, because they'd rather see the money coming to them as coming to us. Those are the only extra options you have as far as creating revenue and taxes on property.
What you just said a while ago, we'll go ahead and get this budget lined out and still have October 1 to put it on occupation tax.
Judge, if I may speak on behalf of the Senior Citizens Program, I'm sorry, but if you take the $100,000 that they gave the program from the occupational tax, we will have to close at least 2 centers. And the reason I'm saying at least 2 is our retirement has gone up 38%. Our insurance has raised. It's like everything, just even in your personal lives. Everything goes up, and if you don't get extra money, you can't keep operating and providing the same benefits, you know, that you're given, the same things that you're given to these seniors. So I just want you to remember that, okay?
And that's what me and you talked about a few weeks ago when you was talking about buying 8 new vehicles. And we thought buying these used ones would help offset some of the burden that you do have. What are we giving you, what, $500,000 right now? Or
Well,
600?
600,000.
The
600.
occupational tax made it an extra 100.
$600,000.
We were getting the 600. That's how much you've been given the Senior Citizens Program for.
We were allocating 500,000, and the legislators were giving them 100,000.
Right.
So when that got cut out, then we upped it when we brought the occupational tax in to
They were giving them
600,000.
$100,000 out of the co-severance, right?
Yes.
And they deleted that amount.
So it wasn't like we got 100 extra. It just replaced the co-severance tax money.
What you was running on.
Right.
Yeah. When things are starting to get tough with the coal and mineral severance tax, as far as being able to be used for economic development, it seems that the rules change a lot. What used to be kosher is not kosher no more. But somehow or another, we get the blame for that when that's not fair because we don't line item this stuff.
So the legislators cut
The legislators are the ones
100,000?
who were giving her $100,000. And they even gave us money one time to help build Phase 5 of the landfill. But then all of a sudden, no, we're not supposed to get it, but Mountain Water was still getting debt service payments when we weren't allowed to have it for the addition of the jail. You know, if you're going to be fair and consistent with everybody. Don't say Pike County can't have this or shouldn't do this, but you allow other entities to do the same thing in your district.
When they were getting the debt service payments, now, is that when they were contracted out with UMG?
Yes,
Is that $250 a year? Is that what it was?
I think so. Because there were things that come through here that we didn't ask for the money for. And it comes from the legislators as to who allocates it.
Right. So if we do what we're talking about, do we need to cut the full 1%? Are we just going to cut, we're going to do the occupational tax and the net profits? I know at one time we talked about maybe lowering it to 0.5%, or because I know we're going to have some unknowns that are going to pop up. So, I mean, what do y'all think? May have a better picture down the road.
I'd like to see it all go.
Yeah, well, I would too.
And start all over if we need it in the new year.
I just need to know the direction. I can try and work the numbers to the best of my ability and you know, show you all this is what we can or cannot do, but I need to know a direction to go in to start being able, do I pull it all out? Do I put half of it in?
What do you think?
And get as good a budget for the 19 years we can?
Do you see anything else in our revenue there, John, that will be less this coming year? I got coal mineral. I marked that down to $70,000.
Yeah, but mineral steel was up throughout the whole 4 quarters, which offset what coal is. Coal needs to come down. And I need to look at the numbers they sent out as to what we're going to get in mineral, because I think they tapped into our mineral. We were getting 50% of the mineral, whatever they paid in, or we were getting all of it. And I think they've cut it to a percentage now. I got to make sure that stays in line with what we're receiving. On page 1 down here and all these grants and stuff, Jimmy, are we about finished with all your stuff? On these hazard mitigation and SRLs and...
Yeah.
We're winding up the severe repetitive loss now. I bought the last one out, and then we'll have to demolish him, and then we can get that money back. We've got the paperwork to send in, don't we, Frank?
What about the DR 4217?
And then as soon as we do that, then I got to do Rocky Court.
Is 4217 still active?
Yeah,
That's the Pompey.
2.7 million?
But all that's just pass-through money anyhow.
Yeah, that's all pass through, but it will affect bringing down the numbers of our
You're looking at still $1.5 million on the Pompey.
1.5.
Yep.
So I can bring that down from 2.7 to 1.5
Yeah.
to spend and receive.
Yep.
What
And then
about
you've
our
got
FEMA,
probably
Frank?
300, 400,000 on Rocky Court, and then we've got 1925. We're just waiting on we just sent the last appraisal in to see if we're going to get approval for that, and I
Okay.
can't remember the number on it.
I can get revised numbers for those
Looking
for
at
you.
$1 million, probably close. Probably about 800,000 on it.
Which one, 1925?
Yeah.
Because I've only got 484,900 in revenue.
Yeah, we asked for more money.
Okay.
That's what we've been waiting on for 2 years, 3 years, 2 years anyway.
We just had the kickoff meeting today for the FEMA flooding back in February. So our estimate's somewhere around $600,000 worth of damage, and the county's got 13% share on it. So we're going to have to come up with about $65,000, $70,000 for our part of those projects here in this next fiscal year.
Frankie, the ones we've already done, can we turn that money over to you guys to use?
There is no in-kind service in the FEMA project.
What I'm saying is the ones we've already done, if they give us anything for it, can we just turn it back over to the general fund to help you guys offset some of these costs?
You'll have to talk to Jonda because all the FEMA stuff goes through the road account, road fund.
Yeah.
So if there's extra there, I guess she can put it back over if.
And what I was talking about, John, is where we went out and hauled rock and fixed these places that's been damaged by the flood. And if FEMA allows us money, you know, we've already paid them in, and there's no expense out other than their labor.
I guess it'd just be on whether or not they approve what we've done to reimburse us back for it.
Yeah, I know District 5, I talked to JB, and he said he's finished with all his projects. But there's a lot of projects in District 1 and District 3 that's going to require drill steel. So, like if we do $100,000 worth of drill steel, we're going to eat $13,000 on the reimbursement. You know, after we pay
out of our road fund?
No, it won't be out of your road fund. It's just a line item for the FEMA grants in the road fund. It doesn't come out of your magistrate accounts, I guess.
So none of our FEMA
But that will come out of each individual account, won't it?
No, there's special line items set up for FEMA and NRCS They're just in the road fund. But that's what I'm saying, the 13%.
I have to come up with extra money.
Is going to come out of that fund too. That's not in
No,
this budget
we
right
have to
now.
come up with a line item that shows the match of about how much we're going to get approved for.
Preliminary was about $600,000 in damage, so you're 13% of that, you're looking at about 60, 65,000, you know, it could go up, it could come down depending on how they write the projects. But
We set up a line item that shows the match that we have to pay, separate from the road account, that will have that
you'll
70-some
have to plug that
thousand.
into this budget before.
That's just, it comes out of the road fund, but
In the general.
other people may, general fund and LGA may have to transfer money into it to make it fund, because road fund doesn't have that much money.
But, yeah, the problem I have with that, the 4 or 5, well, I had 8 places, I think, in my district. We fixed all them with money out of my road fund.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If your stuff gets approved, then we can put the money back in there.
Minus 13%.
Correct.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Frankie, what he's saying too is they've already fixed this stuff out of their road account. So this is money we'll have to put back into the road account if we get funding for it from FEMA.
Minus 13%.
Minus 13%. Well, no, we can take it all because we'll put it into that 13% line item. That's extra money that we appropriate so that you all don't have to get hit with it. But if it goes over what was estimated for it, then it comes out of your road account.
See, we fixed 5 of those. It was mostly drains, and if we didn't fix them, the road was going to be impassable, so we had to. It was an emergency. And when they came in the first time, FEMA did, the inspector went with us over there and showed, you know, they said they were likely that they would approve everything that we done. Because,
right.
You know.
But any kind of cost that you have, like if they write up blacktop, if they write up drill steel, or anything that we contract out, like dump rock or whatever, that we get contractors to do, when we turn that cost in, we're only going to get 87% back.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the cost where you guys fixed everything, and I know District 5 fixed it with shot rock, but we don't have no cost in the shot rock other than we'll get back our labor rates and our equipment rates, and that's what we'll get paid for. We don't have no material cost.
Right.
That might help.
We'll get that back, and that project will get written, and then whatever eligible cost it is, we'll get 87% of that.
And that money could go back to you to help offset some of the payout, right?
It can, yeah.
Well, let's get back to the roof. John, do we have the money to do the roof?
I think we will, that it can be budgeted.
Well,
are we going to have to cut some stuff? I mean,
No, I don't think you'll have to cut. If we can have $1.5 million to $2 million left over, 2/4 of occupational tax would make up the difference for the 3.5. So that would be without any cuts or any increases in anything, except for, you know, trying to get a roof done on here. I think we can accommodate that.
well, I think we need to, this roof is a majority thing to talk about. And who is the contractor that's,
hey, Jonda?
We got some quotes, Judge.
What about, oh, go ahead, Frankie, I'm sorry.
Bid it out, huh?
Yeah.
Never did it out, we just got
Quotes.
Quotes of what it be.
And we'll have to bid it.
Yeah.
yes, you have to bid it.
Yeah.
Well, let's decide to bid it, and then we'll take it up at the next court meeting.
Well, we can't do it on the 15th. It'll have to be in June. The 5th would be the earliest that Frankie could get it out in the mail and get it advertised, and unless we...
John, while you all were talking, I'm just going through here. This budget right here is still when you had 6 magistrates, not 3 commissioners.
yeah, true.
So I just did some quick figuring, and it looks like going from 6 to 3, you're going to save $228,000. That'll pay for your roof.
Right.
Just on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, thank you.
Makes sense.
It'd stay on there pretty regular.
Have you talked to anybody over Mountain Water lately, Jonda? As far as where are they at? Are they doing, my understanding is they're doing a lot better now over Mountain Water. And even heard rumors they might even lower some of their water and sewer rates. I did talk to one of their board members probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago.
I know Roy is very pleased with the direction that Mountain Water has gone since they've taken it back over. And I think he's maybe fearful that there may be
potential for change?
Yes, with the new administration. But they have done really good, and he's trying to get the word out there how well they have done, because he's very proud of what they've accomplished.
Yes, he told me after taking away from UNG, the next year they had saved $800,000. So, and they're moving a little better now.
That happened pretty quick too, didn't it? I mean.
So, well, what do we have to do? Wait on the bidding on the roof?
So wouldn't it be the best to award that on June 5th, Frankie, to give you time, unless we have a special meeting?
Yeah, the next meeting's on Tuesday.
Correct.
You gotta have it out for bid for at least 10 days.
So June 5th, we can get the bids back in on the roof.
But by that time, we've adopted a new budget.
Yeah, because
Maybe not.
by the time you award it, you film the first payment, you're already into your new budget. It'll be July.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be out of the new budget. That was.
Yeah, it'll be out.
Yeah.
But it won't come out of it.
Okay.
I go ahead and bid it and have it ready by June 5th.
Well, can we move on to the executive session?
No, I've got some more questions, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
You, go ahead. Do you have something?
Go ahead.
On the rentals that we're getting for our,
So let me ask one question. Are we still going to keep the full 4 quarters of occupational net profits, or are we going to try to slide it back? What's the consensus of the court?
Wait till we get this budget to see by October 1st, I thought.
Okay. So go ahead and use it for the 4 quarters. Okay.
none of that changed, is what I'm saying. The post office, different courthouses and stuff, buildings that we rent to the U.S. Postal Service,
No,
none of that's changed.
not in years.
You may have some additional revenue coming in on that third floor over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That rental income.
That's under probation and parole, so that's on page 2 of 9, and it's probation and parole, $15,840, and I think Jeannie said it'll go up to $60,000, won't it, Jeannie? So that's a potential of 45 more thousand.
On page 3 of 9, it's got the auction proceeds down at the bottom, 024704.
Correct, that's on those leases from Worldwide.
Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
But if we're going to have an auction, I can go ahead and up that for the different funds, so that we already have that money appropriated for next year also.
Well, we talked about doing that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've already started looking at the inventory.
So for auction proceeds, I can put you all a line item of what you all sell to put the money back to it in a line item. If I increase you all by 50,000 or 75,000, I'll put a separate line item that auction that you can buy out of if you want to.
Y'all know what we do on that last auction? 300.
100 and some thousand.
140.
Okay, the jailer, when he put in his budget, it stayed about the same, or was they adjusted?
No, there was increases, but I took all that out till we start working on it, because I made this exactly the same as what last year's was. So I've got to fix his back to what we approved.
How much was, you remember what the increase was?
Seems like he increased it by about 400,000 and decreased what we were transferring in by that amount.
Okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't much over $1 million, I think, is what I had for transferring in this year compared to the $1,445,000 this year.
Okay, on page 5 of 9, at $29,000 to the Caney Dorton Community Center, what is that for?
That was coal severance money. It was left over, and Jeannie, I think's depleted that we've got all the money in on it now.
So that won't be in this budget then,
No.
right?
Neither will the fish trap ATV trail. It's gone.
All right, that's what, out. Okay.
Teleworks is gone. So basically, page 5 from that point through to page 7 will be no numbers in there.
Teleworks, animal shelter.
That can stay in there. There's just a little 2,000 spay and neuter grant if the Department of Agriculture gives it out.
So the co-severance tax will be down some probably, but the mineral severance tax will be up?
Yes.
You think? Okay. It won't be a washout though, will it?
Minerals should be a little bit more to wash out what we're going to take down coal.
John, that's one thing I want to bring up. Me and Paul was talking, and we know Teleworks has created some jobs, and we're tickled to death for that. But it seems like the county is bearing all the expenses for the companies to come in and hire these people. And we don't want to run nobody off, but Paul says it's getting to be where we're spending quite a bit of money on that building over there and paying utility bills on it. And I guess, Paul, you might tell us what all we are.
Well, we're paying all utilities on that building.
That was the way everything was written up to do. But we retain everything should they pick up and walk off. It's all ours. They don't get to take nothing with them.
But I just wonder when we could maybe negotiate with them and see if they could help share some of the expense. You know, they're making all the money and our employees are getting the work. That's good and great. But Paul says it comes a time to where we need to look at maybe letting them take on some of the expense.
How long was the contract, or what was the negotiations? Is there a point that it reopens?
I don't know. I don't know who agreed on what, you know.
Brian is the one, I guess, that spearheaded that. I could speak with him and see.
I remember 5 years on something, but I don't remember what that was. So.
Yeah, we just brought some new people on board over there. Didn't we, Paul? They just took on some more new companies.
Yeah, and it looked like they're getting ready to have a job fair, I believe it's in June. They're getting ready for some more over there. Things is looking good for them over there. So
how many do they have employed over there right now?
I believe we got the last count that Billy told me, I believe it was 140 some. I'd say they're up more than that now because they've had a couple of job fairs.
Was that full-time employees?
Full-time, most of them down home, you know.
Right.
They got a few working over there.
How many you got working in the office over there, Paul?
Well, you just got, in the office, you just got Billy Carrico, and then you got a security guard.
Got one person in the office after we done all the cubicles and all that.
At one time when tax season was in, they probably had 8 or 10 people working back in there. But right now, they haven't got 1 or 2. But they're getting ready to hire our
Oh, I'm not against it. I think it's the best thing ever come down the line, but we're talking about expenses, and these companies are making good money. If we talk to them, they might help share some of this.
Help a little bit on utilities, yeah.
The phone and broadband's paid through August, so that was co-severance that got paid. After that, we'll be on our own, and that's $2,200 a month. And then, of course, you have your power and water, and that would be your expenses up there.
So what is it monthly? What
$200 a month.
are we paying over there roughly a month?
Okay, the broadband and the phone lines were is about $2,200 a month. That's paid through August.
Then we gotta pick that up. And Paul, what did you say the electric bill was?
I'm not sure right offhand. They're on commercial power over there, and it's higher because we've got three-phase power, where it was a daycare, or senior citizens at one time. And it's more in the
Should not be a
summer, I believe it is, in winter. We got gas in the winter. And
So we're around 2,500 to 3,000 a month?
I'd say 800 or 900 on power, yeah. Now, we're going to change a bunch of lights and stuff and go to LED lights, and that's going to help us, on utilities and stuff. It's going to cut it way down.
Okay, looking at staying in revenues, John, on page 8, solid waste fund and stuff. The tire grant, do we get that every year, Bob, at $3,000? Okay. Oh, it's for it, so it's up. I thought, all right. Okay, and the litter abatement program, is it about the same each year?
Yes. It's around 90 or 100,000.
Okay. Garbage collection, are we ahead of what we've been doing, Bob, or about the same, or what?
It's hard to tell because a lot of people, they won't pay it till it's on their property tax.
Then they pay.
And then, which we're doing better on collecting because we've got the landlords that's doing a good job by helping us and working with us. And I'd like to know where if we're 200,000 short, I'd like to know where the hole's at in the bottom of the boat so we could stop it, So I'd like somebody to sit down with me and go over that with me, and that we'd be able to maybe improve in that area. So
That last that last increase we made, Bob, did that not bring you up much?
that last solid waste increase, it brought us up a lot. See, before you had rates that was just all over the page. You had some paying $2, some $8, some $10, some none, $1,500 on zero. So we cut all that out, and we just got the two rates. We got the $17.50 and the $14 for low income. And so that's made a huge difference, and that's why John just said, we're coming close to breaking even. But where our equipment was in such bad shape, that's took a lot out, which you're going to always have to have equipment. It wears out, that stuff does. So, but we lost the landfill. We lost the business from the coal mines and things when they went out, so that hurt us. So we had to raise the solid waste rates in order to keep providing the service. So that's where we stand at with it.
Are we still going out and signing people up when they move or move in or out?
We've got a list of the landlords.
I mean the individual people that move in and out. Are we going out and signing them up?
Listen what I'm telling you. If you got a landlord and you know how many properties he owns, it doesn't matter who's moving in and out. The landlord is paying for them.
Now, what I'm talking about, individual homes, like people sell and buy. And
yeah, we have that. We go out and try to sign those up, everything. And over in our office, Chuck gets a copy of all the property tax and everything, and he sees if it's in the computer or not and who owns it and so forth that way. So that's what we're working on more now. It's coming along. It's doing all right.
I don't think we'll ever get it balanced out to where it does its own. Do you?
Well, it depends on.
Unless you raise the rates so high the people can't afford to pay it.
I would rather not raise the rates. Over in Williamson, they're $28 a month. Ours is $17.50. But we don't have to be like Williamson. We can be Pike County. I think that if business could pick up some at the landfill, that would help us a lot. Get more people bring garbage from surrounding counties, which I've tried to get. And nobody wants to haul it that far because we got our rates set over there too, and they can haul it to Ashland a lot cheaper than they can over here. But then again, if you had the business coming in, then your landfill, you're going to have to expand it, so it's going to take money to do that with. So you win in one area and lose in the other.
You said it's going to cost about $5 million for the next phase?
That's the figure that Summit gave me to expand to Phase 6, be $5 million.
When was that?
Back about 6 months ago.
Yeah, but when is it we have to expand to that?
We still got about 7 years on Phase 5, and then we can consider if the state would allow us just to mound it in the middle, we could probably get a couple more years out of it, and that versus paying $5 million for 8 or 9 years, you know.
So in 9 years, we're going to have to come up with at least $5 million. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, can't we look ahead a little bit there and?
Well, you're probably going to have, if it's got 7 years, how many, does it take a year and a half to construct a phase?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to look at it in 5 years to do.
And you need about 3 years to get your permits and everything in place.
Well,
that's why they told us to go ahead and start.
I understand that, but can't we adjust to where we can be a plus $1 million a year, so at that time we'd have the money?
Post-closure cost.
That's about three.
That'd be good if we could.
Well, I mean, we're going to have to do something. What are we going to, all right, say that we had to do that right now, what would we do, Bob?
The only thing you could do if you was going to expand right now is borrow the money. That's the only thing you could do.
I forgot what the percentage is in the ordinance, but you're supposed to put so much back into replenish the equipment and run in the black.
5%. You're supposed to put 5% back, everything that solid waste takes in.
And it's my understanding then, you as the commissioner, Oak, at the end of this year, this fiscal year, you look and see what that you've done, your ins and outs, and then you can make an adjustment without us even voting on it.
Yes.
To where you'd have that contingency of that 5% or whatever, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do that. But I'd still want the advice of the court for
I appreciate that, Bob.
Before I place something like that on the people.
But just like you said, Wimpson, West Virginia, it's $28 a month.
Yeah.
You know, I got a cousin that lives in outside of Lexington, and he pays 2 bags a week. If he puts 3 out there, he's got to pay extra.
Yeah, they got bag limits, whereas Pike County don't. You can just throw everything at us, kitchen sink and all, and sometimes they sack up stuff from their barn, manure and stuff from the horses.
Yeah, we've
put out.
And we don't charge extra for if they call them want a bulk pickup, neither do we.
No extra.
All right, our landfill fees are still yet staying about the same on page 9 there at the top. We still yet bringing in $1 million or something a year is what we're projecting, right?
Yeah, and see, that used to be like $1.5 million or $1.7 million at one point.
Coal companies.
Yeah.
Pardon?
9 of 9.
Page 9.
There at the top, landfill fees, just a little over $1 million.
And the city of Pikeville still paying?
Correct.
Has that rate changed any?
No, they're under contract with us.
I think it's every 5 years we can adjust it, cost of living.
All right, if you jump down to the next group of numbers there, it says auction proceeds.
Worldwide equipment.
Is that with worldwide too? Okay.
Correct.
That's what I was asking. All right, let's come on down to the special funds, LGEDF, recaptured fund. It's got Coca-Cola recaptured funds lease. What is that?
That's where Coca-Cola is in the building down there at Mossy Bottom that was once J.M. Wood. No, not J.M. Wood. Is the furniture factory. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they took that over and...
But they're still leasing that, right?
Yeah, they've just got they've already finished 10-year phase at the $12,000 and something. Now they're paying us $9,000 and something a month, probably for 8 more years, and then they'll have it. But this money has to go through the state to be approved through the criteria of economic development, the same way as co-severance tax.
Okay, now let's get into some appropriations. I'm sorry, I can't speak for sputtering. On page 2 of 32 on appropriations, the magistrate rent, $12,000. Do we have that now, Donda?
We have Leo's. Leo's, I think, is the only one we got now.
Which is how much, Leo? I'm sorry.
$200 a month. So it'd be $2,400 in the year. Because we did have Chicks and we had Jeff's, but we phased all those out.
Okay. And then got
Leo's.
12,000, and it's 24 now, I think, what she said. All right, just a second. If anybody else has got something while I'm looking, go right ahead. I've got these labeled.
Bobby, everything that had magistrate decided whenever
Yeah.
everything's got magistrate on it, I'll look at it. I've looked up to look at everything else. Salaries.
Right.
Vehicle expense. I had all those already, that's how I came up with it.
Yeah. Okay, page 7 of 32.
Okay, will the next commissioners be doing the same as what you all do with getting registrations and training paid for and hotel rooms, or are they going to be on their own, or what's going to happen there?
I guess they'll have to make that decision, won't they?
It'll still be half of what
You know, are they going to pay into the retirement system? That's something.
We didn't mention that when we
That's
talked
something they'll
about
have
the
to
salary.
decide.
Okay.
I don't think we can do anything other than set the salaries. We can't set benefits for them. We can't set,
We can change administrative code.
well, we could, but
Yeah.
not.
I guess. I don't know.
That's where I had all those things.
So the commissioner in their first meeting can vote on whether or not they're going to get benefits or not?
I said if the administrative code's changed, we can
I
dictate
don't think
what.
we can vote on something that we're not going to be,
We said there's that.
that's all we do, isn't it, Herbie?
I think so, unless we do it by, like John said, the administrative code, but that in this budget, I think we're doing all that we can do.
I would say there'll be a new administrative code written once the commissioner form of government.
When can you change the administrative code? What?
Magistrates
Judge can
in the
change
month
it
of
at any
June,
time.
Judge can do it at any time, first and second reading.
Yeah. Certain times you gotta do it, and,
Judge can do it at any time. The magistrate's just in the month of June.
right. So I'd say the magistrates will be setting on what benefits they want to get or what they don't want to get.
Now, I'm just thinking about that because of, they didn't want the salary set high, so what other skin in the game were they going to put?
I think you only had one that didn't want it set high. I don't think we want anybody to work, and I don't think they would want to work for nothing. If you are a commissioner and you're going to double up on twice the amount of people that you have now, then you're gonna have to get reimbursed because it's gonna be a full-time job if you take care of it and do it right. You know, that's my opinion. And
we say that, but by the law and their interpretation of the Attorney General's interpretation of it too is they don't have any authority but from gavel to gavel, and that's what they get paid for.
But are you gonna have a telephone that's not in the book or
Probably
uncirculated? You know, I don't think that would work.
If they've got any sense, they'll have an unlisted phone.
I got a call yesterday, Bob, from your district.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the way it is. And over at Church House Holler, and they had a problem. But, I mean, we might as well face it. If you're a commissioner, you're going to get calls, and you're going to have to go out and take care of
They
you.
don't have problems at Church House Holler. They got one problem. His name's Pete Stratton.
But I was just, you know, seems like the people didn't like what you all were making and what you all got benefits for, so I didn't know if they would want everything sliced on the new people.
If we don't have that, if we're not supposed to do that, I'm not going to do it. I won't say nothing about that.
I just think what Herbie said is the Constitution says we got to set the salaries.
That's all I can see.
And then the new court, whoever it might be, will come in and they'll establish a new administrative code because they're going to have a lot of changes that's going to be made. You know, you got all these road lots and all these employees. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to be located and things like that. I mean, it's something that people are going to have to just give them time to work on and get it straightened out. And they'll be taking office right at the time when you're going to get a big snow.
Well, they'll probably have the commissioners will have 6 months to work out the changes in administrative code. The county judge can propose it, as like what John said, at any time. So they'll have a 6-month period there to figure out, do they want telephones? Do they want vehicles? Do they want to pay retirement? What all they want to do? That would be.
And it might be like Bobby said, they might just have their phone number.
Yeah, let them call.
Changed and.
Let them call the courthouse.
Oh, I don't know how done.
All right, getting back to the budget, John, on 7 to 32 there. About a third of the way down. Homeland Security, what is that? 191,000.
I keep that plugged in. There's a revenue expense to offset it, so if Doug Tackett has grants that come through, that way I don't have to amend all the time. I just keep it there.
Okay, for grants, okay.
Yeah.
And the EMS grant, same thing?
That is, the EMS grant is for ambulance services that they can apply for, and they get $2,000 or $3,000 for buying equipment for it.
All right.
I don't think we've received it in a couple of years, have we? I think Doug got it this year, though.
Come down to the bottom of the page there at animal shelters, donations. Do we get donations, or do we make donations of $5,260 a year?
They receive donations.
They receive. I thought this was in budget appropriations.
It is. So you'll have a donation line item that has the exact same amount that they can buy things from donations. That sometimes people, when they pass away, instead of flowers, in lieu of flowers, they ask for donations to be made to the animal shelter. I've seen a couple of those here in the last few weeks.
All right, on page 8 of 32, about halfway, we've leased 5 vehicles there. It's $28,000 a year. That's all to the animal shelter?
No, that was all those vehicles that we bought.
Okay.
Jimmy Kaiser, Paul Williamson, the coroner's van, and that's where I had the money at the time, and we've got to distribute it back out in this next budget to where it appropriately needs to go.
Okay. All right. Now, coming on down there a little ways, the Elkhorn City Interconnector, what is that?
That was some coal severance money that I don't think ever got completed,
Okay.
because there's an offsetting 4,000 in revenue also.
All right, the NRCS buyout, the 200,000, what was that?
That's for that natural resources, soil conservation.
So we've done it?
I had them plug 200,000 for Genie and road and solid waste. I mean, road and general fund.
And these other grant programs is the ones that Jimmy's working on that you was talking about there, right?
Correct.
DR 4217 and 18?
Correct.
Okay. Down at the bottom of the page there, park facility cooks. Who is that, or what is that? Pardon?
We can take all this out pretty much this year because Diane took all that over.
Okay, what about the psychiatric evaluations there?
No, we have to leave that. That's what
the
attorneys,
jail, right?
the court system designates attorneys, court-appointed attorneys, and psychiatric evaluations that we have to pay.
Okay.
Let me say something about that. That's always been
a thorn in your side.
A thorn in my side. The district judges, the district judges at their sole discretion can order a psychiatric evaluation. The person could have $500,000 in a savings account, and the fiscal court still has to pay it, and we never collect another cent of that back.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see the county attorney's office to see if we could draft something that we could put a lien on each one of those estates, because it starts to add up to a lot of money.
Yeah, it used to be under 100,000. Now we're up to 150,000.
Oh yeah.
See, that's just and most of those people have estates that could pay that money back. And I'm not wanting to try to collect any kind of money we shouldn't, but we're providing a service that we don't have anything to do about providing it. And one time we went over to them and said we was going to not pay it anymore, and the people said, well, if you don't, we'll shut you down. That's Judge Deskin's first term, and then nobody ever looked at it. But that's a whole lot of money that the fiscal court has to spend where we don't have any discretion at all in paying the bill.
That comes out of the social services office, out of my office.
No, it don't.
Line item. No,
it used to did.
I'm the one that does.
It's in the general fund now because we were losing so much money in the LGA fund.
Right. But I meant we're the ones that gets the billing for it. And it's running $12,000 to $15,000 a month. And I had a gentleman come in my office one time. Now, I've questioned this since, as Herbie said, that Judge Deskins was here the first time. I had a gentleman come in my office and he said, ma'am, I'd like to give you a copy, or would you make a copy of my Medicaid card? And I said, sir, why do you want me to make a copy of your Medicaid card? And he said, well, the judge ordered me psychiatric evaluations and said, I didn't think it was right for you all to pay for it when my Medicaid card pays for it.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian Morse, when he was deputy judge, we called a meeting with the administrator over Mountain Comp. And Jeannie, do you remember that? And it just so happened that my husband was in the hospital in Huntington, and I wasn't here, but they went ahead with the meeting. But it went about as far as, you just can't get anywhere with them.
From what I gather, it has something to do with the timing of when they order it and when they bill it, or it has something to do with timing. Well, like if it's on the weekend, or I mean,
they've doubled the prices.
I know what it is. They do it. They order it before they get a court order, or it's something.
No, they give the court order to send it, and then they have to go right then to get the evaluation.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, what the problem is they do the evaluation, 2 weeks before they ever get the court order.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Therefore, they can't bill Medicaid. That's what the gentleman told us.
We can go, we want an executive session?
Yes,
We need to.
Yeah, we can finish this coming back. I've got about 7 more questions. Want a break? I make a motion, then we go into executive session in accordance of KRS 61.810, paragraph C, discussion of proposed or pending litigation, and paragraph F, discussion of specific personnel.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson. Magistrate Varney.
Yes.
Judge Fiscal.
Yes. The meeting will resume. Frankie, you have any bids? All right, I believe, John, you're next. You got any business? Oh, no, magistrates. Come
Judge, I believe we're gonna have a few more. Bob said he had some things
I've got
on the budget.
6 or 7 questions, Judge.
You do what?
I've got 6 or 7 more questions on the budget.
All right, we'll do that.
On page 9 of 32, where it's talking about all sorts of stuff. I know we still have to make police payments on it. That's, what is it, $40,960 a year? What about the 43 management? Are we still paying that? What is that for?
For him to take it over, that was what the Greens manager was making, and we give him the same amount that he was making at the time we turned it over to the contract.
Moving on down to the GIS stuff there, the mapping salaries,
That's for one person.
that's just for one person. He has software, I'll tell you this.
Wait, that's for one person, and then half or a third of Martha's comes out there too as a secretary.
For software development, they did this, 21,000?
We did the pictometry this year. No, it wouldn't have to be that way, I don't think, every year.
The new office equipment, 7,500, is that a yearly thing? I think she put that in the budget for him to buy a new map plotter that.
Yeah. No, it don't have to be in there every year.
All right, coming on down to the bottom accounts there on the annual events. We have 25,000, and we've done that, right?
Yes. That's like to do porta potties and help out with
Hillbilly Days?
Apple Blossom Day, Hillbilly Days. The Southeast Chamber does reimburse us some on the porta potties for the Hillbilly Days.
Okay, turn it over to page 17 and 32. Energy recovery fund, $220,000. What is that all about?
That's that bottom part of your all's road account money, energy recovery. That's anything that's since 1970. Cohall roads, yes. Yes. Where some people haven't spent it, I put the bulk amount, but I think we only got.
I'm sorry.
We only got 30-some thousand this year, so, but that's where people's not spent it, and it's accumulated up to that much.
Okay, then on down there on the insurance that it talks about underneath Fish Trap to Upper Pompey Road, that connector, whatever.
That's liability.
Is that liability? Okay.
Property and liability insurance for the road department.
change any this year?
The numbers, I think, are the same.
Okay. Page 18. And it's really the last three things in that first bunch there, the workers' comp, pre-employment physicals, and drug testing. Is there going to be any change in that? What about workers' comp? Is it going
Yes, workers' comp is going to go down some.
Down?
By the amount of what we got refunded.
Okay.
Of $187,000.
But the pre-employment physicals and drug testing is about the same, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, pre-employment.
Because we're doing more.
And we're also doing a background check. We might have to add in there to everybody, new employee that's, we're doing that, and we've had some success in probably eliminating some people that would not be a desirable employee.
Page 23 of 32. Top of it, the aid to the needy. Exactly what is that fund?
Diane Thacker.
Okay.
It's where she pays for, helps people on their electric, water, if they need housing, and then she also uses it to buy underprivileged kids presents at Christmas.
Okay, go on. Page 24. Fish trap cleanup improvements. Are we doing that every year, 29,750?
That goes back to when Judge Dameron was here and we got a $50,000 grant through coal severance. And as they've used money on it, I decrease it, but that's how much is still left in 20-some years. The
Are we
fish trap.
giving any to them this year for cleanup? Have they asked for any?
I don't think they've asked for any, but that'd be a good place to take it to where we could get it spent down.
In fact, yeah, and it needs it.
Because I tried to be good steward of the county's money, and if we've not spent it, I don't just wipe it out and say it's gone, because that's not right to me.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. It was cleanup and improvements whenever she was here, Hillman's first term as magistrate.
Okay, on down there at Caney Dorton Community Center.
We've expended that, I believe, now and got it all reimbursed back. That was what was left to spend, and the amount you saw of the $29,000 was money we still needed to get in of, probably that was a $100,000 allocation, I'd say, at one time. Coal severance projects.
The Fish Trap ADTV trail.
Coal severance.
That's gone.
Yep. This next one, they left us with money in order to pay the Coleman guy that does the trimming and stuff up there at Fish Trap whenever we did the expansion and got part of it.
$6,000?
Yes.
All righty. On page 25, we've got pools, renewals, repairs, and utility expense for pools, which we don't open them now, but we still have some expense, don't we?
Yes.
Paul? Okay.
Electric bills, water bills.
Now, like at Turkey Creek where we got rid of that trailer, and so we're saving money there on the electric bill and all the other stuff that we were providing for them, right? Page 26, or near the bottom, West Care, Kentucky Incorporated Project, 429-815. I know, in Elkhorn City School Apartments, that's another one of those pass-throughs.
Elkhorn City will go down this year, but West Care has not started yet, so it'll be that, so it'll probably be the same amount for West Care, but Elkhorn City will go down.
Because we spent some there. I think other than, and I think Kyle brought it up earlier there about the salaries of the magistrates and their expenses and all that stuff, and we'll be saving at least half on that. So that, yeah, Okay, that's all that I have.
Is there any other questions? If not,
Just one
mattress
more
comment.
thing,
Oh,
just one thing for me. I'd like to get a vote on the occupational tax. Do I put the whole amount in? Then we see how much we had as carryover, and then if the carryover is like 2 million, then we look at doing 2 quarters later and taking it off. And what about employee raises?
If we do away with the occupational tax, is there any way we can give a raise?
No.
Okay. Well,
Work it out, and then
let's look at, what Leo said there. Let's look at leaving the occupational tax alone right now, and then we'll discuss it between now and October and make a decision.
So no increases for the employees?
Not right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to have a vote to leave the occupational tax alone and no increases on the employees at this point.
don't need no vote.
I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Yeah, we did a 2% raise last year. That's in this budget.
What would a 3% raise roughly be for employees?
$228,000.
Okay. That's a new roof. And then.
Yeah, but if we keep the occupational tax, there's going to be.
1% cut on the property tax would be another $215,000, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's $600 and some thousand right there. Okay.
And the KERS is only going up by 12% from this year, so it's 21.48, and that's going to save us about 300,000. So I think that only makes it 400 instead of close to the 700,000.
So yes, yeah. And it's going up what, at 12%?
Each year.
Each year. That's another thing to keep in mind. Okay.
It's a phase-in for 10 years, raising it 12% each year.
We could propose all kinds of stuff. I don't know if we can do it or not. That's.
We need to adopt just as is.
I need to change the jails because I didn't put the jail in as the acknowledged receipt of the jail's budget that you all had talked about, and I need to go and take down the magistrates from 6 to 3 for commissioners. And
Can you have it ready by Tuesday?
yeah.
Why don't you give us the several options?
Yeah, she's making notes.
Do you know who you might want me to tell you who you are? Well, see, if I change all the numbers, I can't go back and change them again and change them again. You about made me say the W word.
You have any other comments?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Madrid's comments, Jeff?
Judge, I had a couple things. As everybody knows, we had our debate last night, and there were some questions, and I talked to Jonda about this. The Marian's Branch Bridge, was that funded with coal severance? My understanding was that was funded with coal severance tax.
Yes, it was, and that's what settled the lawsuit that we had, was in order to open it back up, was that Marion's Branch was funded by county coal severance tax.
And we signed off on that.
It's like 1.3 or
Yes, we did.
1.4.
We did. We signed off on it.
Yes, sir.
And then we also gave them another 100,000 not too long ago to do the core drilling.
The core drilling, the testing.
Which was coal severance tax?
Correct.
Correct, okay. There was also some questions raised, or actually some statements made that we had squandered some money on this UMG lawsuit and that there wasn't anything found in the records. And I'm just...
That's not correct.
Yeah, that is not correct. We don't have all the records, but I just got a brief summary. I'll read over it real quick just to let the public know what happened with the lawsuit and what we have found so far. July 3rd, 2005, the Pike County's Water District, Mountain Water District, entered into a management contract with UMG, a newly formed company, to operate all aspects of the district. Mountain Water District was the first client of UMG, and the original contract between them was for 5 years. During the initial term of the contract, Mountain Water District's financial condition declined substantially, resulting in the district depleting its statutorily required bond reserves and having to borrow money just to meet its payroll obligations. In addition to a rapidly declining financial condition, the district received a substantial amount of negative publicity. It was reported in the Lexington Herald that former Secretary of Transportation Bill Nybert was given a $125,000 a year consulting contract and a $34,000 vehicle by UMG. We had legislators that were serving as attorney for UMG and doing no-bid contract work. Rumors were circulating that at least one Mountain Water Board member and their family members were receiving payments from UMG. This all prompted the Pike County Fiscal Court to request an audit of Mountain Water District in 2010. The audit report, prepared by Kentucky State Auditor Craig Llewellyn at the time and released on January 27, 2011, contained 8 findings that included substantial financial and operational deficiencies at the district and resulted in legislative ethics charges being filed against one of Pike County's then sitting legislators. The audit also reported that UMG limited the auditor's access to its records and did not fully disclose to the auditor all the records the auditor needed to conduct a thorough examination of the management and operation of Mountain Water District. Believing the Kentucky Open Records Act applied to UMG and wanting to let the public know how much UMG had profited from its Mountain Water District contract and how it had been spending money, public money, while the district finances were descending rapidly toward insolvency. The Pike County Attorney's Office, at the direction of the Pike County Fiscal Court, sent an open records request to UMG on March 4th, 2011, requesting a list of expenditures including check number, date, amount, and payee for all checks written from January 7, 2005 through present. The request was denied by UMG all the way to the Kentucky Supreme Court, which ruled in the court's favor on November 2, 2017. Unfortunately, instead of providing the county with a list of expenditures we asked for, UMG showed up at the courthouse with 9 banker's boxes, approximately 36,000 pages of copied checks. The checks were not in order, and there were many check numbers that were missing from the documents provided. Due to the public's interest, I have decided to release certain information today and to aggressively continue to pursue the information requested in our open records request of March 4th, 2011. Based upon a cursory review of the documents provided by UMG to the court, we have identified a number of expenditures that begin to paint a clear picture for the public of why the Mountain Water District Board of Directors allowed the UMG relationship to continue long after it became clear that it was having a negative financial impact on the district. The following records paint a picture of wealth, waste, and excess for UMG while the financial condition of Mountain Water District was descending quickly toward insolvency. Here are some checks that we did find, some of the questionable items. First item, December 16th, 2008, we have a check for $833.78. This was the first check in what became a monthly payment for a luxury Lexus sedan. We have a check for $200, Venus Nail and Beauty Spa. We have gift certificates for commissioners, $75. We have 4 checks written to the Landmark Inn, one for $4,368, one for $11,863.85, a check for $15,000 $15,628.65, and another one for $9,855.20. Total of $41,000, $41,715.70 for what appear to be holiday parties held at the Landmark Inn. There was a check written to the Pike County Judge Executive on May 30th, 2007 for $1,000. 2 checks written to Extreme Fun Inflatables, one for $800, one for $850. We have a check written to JCB Insurance Services in the amount of $40,421.17. Check written to JCB Insurance Services. All had 3 different checks. All were for the same amount of $19,829.20. According to the Kentucky Secretary of State's website, JCB Insurance does not appear to be a business officially recognized in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. However, a business known as Brooks Insurance and Financial Services, as well as a business known as R.B. James CPA PLLC, both of which have the same address of 308 Virginia Avenue, South Williamson, Kentucky, do exist. The incorporator, sole director, sole member, and registered agent of Brooks Insurance and Financial Services and R.B. James CPA PLLC is shown on the Secretary of State's website as Rhonda James, former chairwoman of the Mountain Water District Board of Directors. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 checks written to a GHW Consulting LLC. All the checks, these 7 checks, were for $2,000 each. The Kentucky Secretary of State's office lists Ginger Wills as the owner of GHW Consulting. Ms. Wills is the former commissioner of the Department of Intergovernmental Affairs at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, former chief of staff to Kentucky Auditor Mike Harmon, and most recently chief of staff to the Kentucky Speaker of the House. It's unclear how long after March 2011 this consulting contract remained in place. Ms. Wills recently resigned from her position as chief of staff to the Speaker on January 29. So again, based upon media reports, we're aware of several additional expenditures that did not appear in the documents that were provided. For instance, we know that from the Lexington Herald's article that former Secretary of Transportation Director Bill Nybert, he was receiving payments for a consulting contract worth $125,000 a year and a vehicle worth $34,000, and there are other expenditures that we know exist as well that are not included. Some of the things that I'm aware of that have not been, and I looked through all the boxes, I think there was a whistleblower lawsuit that I understand was settled with, that involved UMG, and I think there was a sexual harassment lawsuit. And then I also looked for the check that was written and that political attack ad that I couldn't find it, but these are just some of the things that I've found. That's what they held. But do you have a question?
Well, no, I don't have a question.
But anyway, I just wanted to make the public aware that this lawsuit drug on for 6-7 years, and I think that it was we were accused by our state senator, who was kind of one of our chief critics last night at the debate, that said that we ought to reimburse. We wasted money on the lawsuit, but I think it's clear that the court did its job. We realized money was missing, and I think the audit showed that the things weren't being transparent. And to my knowledge, and I was going to defer to Kyle, I still don't think we've even gotten what we've asked for. Is that correct? I think there's been some motions filed.
We have filed a motion to compel the production of those documents at a hearing in Floyd County because it is a special judge, Tom Smith. We had a hearing. The judge sustained our motion. We've submitted an order, and I have not received the order back from the judge.
Okay. One other thing, I want to ask Frankie. Apparently, I've been accused of personally awarding $1.7 million in FEMA contracts. Are you aware of anything that I have personally done or awarded to anybody? Okay. I like that to be part of the record too, by the way. I think that is about it. Herbie, do you have anything you want to
No, I
add?
just want to say that what Kyle just related, that there is an order pending before Judge Smith, which is going to allow us to get the rest of the records that obviously there's some there because it listed another checking account on some of the checks that are already issued.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one thing. I actually went back and double checked on some items and that, which Kyle and I discussed that as well. So yeah, it'd be fine.
The records that were provided to me and attached to our motion to compel that was filed with Judge Smith in Floyd County was a check written on an account from the same bank as the other bank records were, but that particular account number was not in those records. So we know of at least that account. I think it's the Bank of Williamson, if I'm not mistaken. And also the memo or the memorandum on the check itself was that this check was to be used to open another account at Community Trust Bank. So, and I know we have not received any bank records that I'm aware of from Community Trust Bank. So there's at least one, possibly two records out there. And quite a few of the records that were submitted to us, the copies that were given to Herbie, I went through them. They're illegible. They're too light. You can't see anything on them.
They didn't follow the protocol that they're supposed to. By producing ledgers and check numbers.
Now, the ledger in and of itself, I don't think was part of the original request from 2011, but UMG, by the Supreme Court, they were declared to be a corporation that is subject to the open records request because they're using public funds. They did not create their own regulations regarding open records request as is required by the statute. We have asked Judge Smith to impose upon them the uniform regulations done by the Finance and Administration Cabinet, and that provides for a representative from the fiscal court to go to the actual location where the records are held and physically view them either electronically or in their written format and make whatever requests of copies from whatever we find at the site. And we've asked them, and we've asked Judge Smith to order them to do that.
You know, one thing I did think about that maybe if we, like on some of these branch agencies, I mean, maybe even the water district or the library board or health department board, I don't know what kind of ethics code they have in place as far as family members, you know, dealing with each other. Yeah, nepotism. I mean, I think ours is pretty well spelled out, but that might be something that we could, you know.
Herbie was supposed to work
on the
I'm sorry.
Mountain Water on their ethics code as far as.
They haven't, as far as I know, they do not have an ethics code or a nepotism procedure.
Right.
And we want to wait till, we're waiting for this order, probably to address that.
Okay. I think that's about all I have. Can't think of anything else, Judge.
Charlie, District 2?
I don't have any comments, Judge.
Leo?
Not this time.
Oh. Hillman?
Just a few comments, Judge. My road crew has came under a little bit of fire, and my road foreman, and I do want to go on record as saying that I think that I've got the best road foreman and the best road crew in the state. And I'm not downplaying anybody else's road crew or road foreman. I'm just standing up for what my guys stand for and the work that they've done over there. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Treasurer's business, Jonda. Do you have any?
No, sir.
No. Commissioners and directors' comments.
Judge, I'd like to beg to this court, if they would, to consider giving the employees a raise, because we've got people out there doing a super job, and I'm talking about all across the board. It's just Our road departments, they're out in the middle of the night whenever the snow's on, trying to make the roads safe for us, and they're called at all different hours. They never know when they got to go out. We've got employees hanging on the back of these garbage trucks, riding in the rain and the snow and heat or whatever that there is. And I know for a fact some of these employees are struggling to live, and they perform a service that we cannot do without. And I think that we need to take care of our employees, if nothing else. I mean, if we're going to, if you got to cut or find places to cut somewhere else, but give the employees a decent wage for the job that they do, and that's what I'd ask this court to do.
I think they need a raise. I'll let them before we go work out.
You have anything? Frankie?
I'll just echo Bobby's sentiment that last couple of years we've cut back and we've asked our employees to keep doing more and more work, and not only that, it's just for the same employees, probably 2 or 3 years in a row, not hire them back, but you still got to do the same job.
You agree with that?
Is that all? You want anything? You?
Judge, there are some events coming up we need to get on the record. We've got the spring horse ride scheduled for Saturday. That'll go out of Lick Creek. I know your office has worked hard trying to help get that together. Paul in Public Works and his staff have worked really hard over there.
I'm gonna make $80,000 a year.
Brian and his staff at the jail, they're helping cook the food. Our road crews and transportation folks have got the trails ready. So once again, our employees, our county employees and our department heads have really gone above and beyond the call to make events like this possible. So I want to acknowledge them and thank them, and encourage everybody, if you've got a horse, show up on Saturday. We're going to try to leave at 10 o'clock. I think the trails are pretty wet, and we don't really want to risk injury to anybody going in and out. So I think right now the food will be at the park on the way in there. And then hopefully everybody can come out and have a good day there out on the trails. The Hatfield-McCoy Marathon will be June the 9th. That typically is staged and leaves from the Food City parking lot there in South Williamson. That course runs up through Toller, up through Hardy, over into Blackberry, goes around the town of Matewan, comes back across, comes down River Road, crosses the bridge at Sprague, then comes back down Aflax through and eventually into Williamson where it finishes. And again, our staff is out picking up, cutting weeds and making sure that course is presentable. There's about 1,000 people that run that race from all over the country and even foreign countries. So that's a big event. If you've never watched the finish, I would encourage people to go to Williamson and watch the finish and how these people respond and react. It's an eye-opener. So that takes place on June the 9th. And then, of course, on June the 16th, there will be a Hatfield-McCoy Festival. That's the following weekend. That will actually take place in the Matewan-McCarr area. We were asked to try to put together a river event for that. So we're going to have our first bass tournament. It'll be a kayak-style paddlecraft tournament, and that'll go out of the Hatfield-McCoy Park area there. There'll be some more details. The last thing I would like to talk about is we had our first mountain bike ride over at Ball Fork last Sunday. We had a group of about 30 individuals. They had a ball. They really enjoyed the trails, had a lot of really positive things to say about it. Most of this group has rode either over at Sugar Camp at Prestonsburg or the Dawkins Trail or the Creeper Trail. And they had some really positive things to say about that. So hopefully there'll be other upcoming events. They can follow us on the Friends of Pike County Cycling Facebook page. You can also follow the horse trail and the motorized events that's coming up in the Pike County Kentucky Trails Facebook page. And then, of course, you've got the Friends of the Tuck Fork River that talks about our water trails. So I know now that the weather's broke, I think Hillman's going to be trying to get some work done on some access points that we've got permitted up in his district, and then we'll sort of work our way down the river from there. All of these trails efforts is weather dependent, and when we have bad weather and it's wet, we don't want to risk equipment, and we certainly don't want to risk manpower if it's not safe. So we're just going to have to be patient, and hopefully we'll get a weather window here and we can get some work done. But appreciate everybody's support and the input that we're getting from the trails community, and look forward to your all's ongoing support. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, county attorney's report.
I think I answered all the questions everybody had already.
All right.
Judge, I'd like to say something before we leave. I see Bob's and Frank's interest in our employees. They need a raise. And it might be something we can look at the next meeting and visit all the magistrates and all the people that's in the salary position, look at maybe taking a cut and then give them to the working employees. You know, they really work hard. And we can look at the budget and see what it would take for all of us to get together and cut our pay and give them a little bit more. That's just
Thank you.
a thought.
All right. Pike County Judge Executive's comments. John, do you have any way to raise the employees of the county about 3%?
Yeah, we can, as long as we keep the occupational tax in play.
You keep it in place?
Yeah.
If we do that, then how about 5%?
Well, probably.
These employees have done a great job, and they've had 2% in the last 12 years, 10 years, I believe. And they deserve a little bit.
Judge, we've given more than that, I think. In the last 12 years, they've had more than 2%, I believe.
Yeah, I think they have. But anyway, we need to give them 5% if we can.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yep. So we'll take that into consideration and make the thing, if my treasurer tells me we can do it.
We
Thank
can.
you. All right, a
As long as we
motion
keep
to
it in play.
adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Roll call, please.
Magistrate Anderson. Magistrate Compton.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Varney. Judge Diskins.
Yes. The court will be adjourned.